In the late 19th century, as European powers carved up Africa in the infamous scramble for Africa, Ethiopia stood out as a lone beacon of resistance. At the heart of this defiance was Emperor Menelik II, a devout Christian monarch who united Ethiopia and led his people to a historic victory against Italian colonial ambitions. His triumph at the Battle of Adwa in 1896 remains a landmark event in global history, a stark contrast to the complete subjugation of other African regions, where colonialism reigned unchecked. Christianity came to Ethiopia in the 4th century CE, making it one of the earliest countries in the world to adopt the religion. The process of Christianization was deeply intertwined with Ethiopia's political and cultural identity and can be attributed to both historical and divine narratives. According to the New Testament in Acts 8, an Ethiopian eunuch, a high-ranking official in the courts of Queen Candace of Ethiopia, was baptized by Philip the Evangelist. This event is often seen as the first introduction of Christianity to Ethiopia. The major turning point in the religious history of Ethiopia came during the reign of King Ezana of Aksum in modern northern Ethiopia, between 320 to 360 CE. Ezana embraced Christianity and declared it the official religion of the Aksumite Empire. This was influenced by Frumentius, later known as Abba Salama, a Syrian Christian missionary who was captured and brought to Aksum as a slave. He rose to prominence in the royal court, tutored the king, and introduced Christian teachings. Frumentius traveled to Alexandria, Egypt, where he was ordained as the first bishop of Aksum by the Coptic patriarch Athanasius. If a king in Ethiopia named himself Menelik II, you would want to know who Menelik I was. How did he come about the name and what does it mean? The name Menelik is derived from the Ge'ez language, the ancient liturgical language of Ethiopia, and its meaning is often interpreted as son of the wise or son of the king. This interpretation aligns with the legendary origins of Menelik II, a significant figure in Ethiopian tradition and history. Menelik I is believed to be the first emperor of Ethiopia. According to Ethiopian legend and the Kebra Nagast, the glory of the kings, he was the son of King Solomon of Israel and the Queen of Sheba, called Makeda. This story claims that when the Queen of Sheba visited King Solomon, she bore him a son, Menelik II, who later traveled to Jerusalem to meet his father. The name, therefore, carries connotations of wisdom, royalty, and divine favor, which made it especially significant in the Ethiopian tradition of kingship. While in Jerusalem, Menelik is said to have returned to Ethiopia with the Ark of the Covenant, bringing it to Aksum, the ancient capital of Ethiopia. This act established a divine link between the Solomonic dynasty and the Ethiopian monarchy, a tradition that lasted until the fall of Emperor Haile Selassie in 1974. Menelik II ascended to the throne in 1889, a period when Africa was being divided among European powers at the Berlin Conference. Unlike many African rulers who faced European powers with divided or technologically inferior forces, Menelik II inherited a nation strengthened by reforms initiated by earlier leaders like Emperor Tewodros II. Ethiopia's Christian heritage, dating back to the 4th century, provided a unifying national identity. The Ethiopian Orthodox Church played a central role in fostering loyalty to the emperor and the defense of the nation. Menelik II leveraged Ethiopia's Christian connections to negotiate with European powers, securing modern weapons while maintaining Ethiopia's sovereignty. In 1889, Italy and Ethiopia signed the Treaty of Wuchale. The Amharic version recognized Ethiopia's independence, while the Italian version falsely implied Ethiopia had ceded sovereignty. When Menelik discovered the deceit, he rejected the treaty and prepared for war. His defiance was deeply rooted in his Christian conviction that Ethiopia, as a chosen land of God, must remain free. Menelik united Ethiopia's diverse ethnic groups, rallying them under the banner of Christian faith and national pride. Leveraging alliances with Russia and France, Menelik acquired modern firearms and artillery, ensuring his army was well equipped. Before the battle, Menelik invoked Ethiopia's Christian heritage, encouraging his soldiers to view their struggle as a divine mission. Ethiopian forces, numbering over 100,000, decisively defeated the Italians at Adwa on March 1, 1896, who had underestimated both Ethiopia's unity and military capabilities. The Italians suffered over 6,000 casualties, and their colonial ambitions in Ethiopia were shattered. This was Africa's sole victory against colonialism. Why did Ethiopia succeed? Firstly, it was because of unity. Menelik united Ethiopia's diverse tribes and ethnic groups, overcoming internal divisions that plagued other African regions. Secondly, unlike most African leaders, Menelik modernized Ethiopia's military and infrastructure, securing the tools necessary for resistance. Most importantly, Ethiopia's Christian heritage provided a unifying ideology and a moral framework for resistance. Menelik framed the struggle as a defense of Ethiopia's ancient faith against foreign invaders. This was in sharp contrast with other African nations where there was massive fragmentation. In much of Africa, colonial powers exploited tribal divisions. Without a unifying identity, like Ethiopia's Christianity, resistance efforts were often isolated and ineffective. There was also technological disparity. Many African kingdoms lacked access to modern weapons. In contrast, Ethiopia's Christian alliances with European powers, especially Russia, enabled Menelik to arm his forces adequately. Furthermore, the absence of a centralized faith or identity left many African regions vulnerable to colonization. For instance, in West Africa, traditional and Islamic kingdoms like the Sokoto Caliphate were divided and fell to superior European weaponry. In southern Africa, the Zulu kingdom fought valiantly, but was defeated due to lack of unity and modern weapons. In North Africa, despite Islamic resistance, nations like Algeria and Egypt succumbed to French and British imperialism. Christianity played a huge role in Ethiopia's resistance because Ethiopia's Christian identity was pivotal in rallying the nation against colonization. As one of the first Christian nations, Ethiopia viewed itself as divinely protected. The Ethiopian Orthodox Church played a critical role in mobilizing the population, providing moral support, and legitimizing Menelik's call to arms. Ethiopia's victory at Adwa became a symbol of African pride and a source of inspiration for Pan-African movements and Christian communities across the world, proving that faith and unity could triumph over oppression. Ethiopia remained the only African nation to successfully resist European colonization during the scramble for Africa, preserving its sovereignty and Christian heritage. Ethiopia's victory inspired anti-colonial movements throughout Africa and the African diaspora, becoming a symbol of resilience and divine protection. Menelik's legacy as a Christian leader who championed modernization and unity continues to resonate in Ethiopian history and global Christianity. Menelik's story challenges us to draw strength from our faith and history, reminding us that with God, even the greatest odds can be overcome. Thank you for watching. For more amazing testimonies on great men and women of faith, please like this video, share, and subscribe to Faith Reflections 247. Stay blessed.